have my bushing pressed in. So now what we're going to do is lay the brace down over the top, and the brake cam is going to slide through the bushing, and the two smaller holes are going to be pointed towards us. So we're going to go ahead and slide that on. Let it sit down just like so. At this point again, I want you to double check behind and make sure that the cam is still properly around the brake. Once that is in, we're going to install the longer screw in the back, and we're going to put the two longer screws here, the smaller ones, thinner ones I should say, in the front. They're going to slide down, and they're going to go all the way down in to touch the nut on the bottom. So they're going to slide in a good long way, and you're going to have to maybe fiddle with things to make sure that they stay adjusted properly. And then we'll tighten them up. During this whole time, you're going to want to keep double checking to make sure that that brake stays inside the cam, because it can come out. And now, boy, we're just having all sorts of trouble with this step. Not quite sure why, but this is not wanting to align. There we go. Again, I'm making sure that everything is staying free and it's not binding up. There we go. If you get binding in the brakes while you're doing this, double check and make sure that your cam is properly situated, because 99% of the time that's the problem. The back plate, brake plate, should be a little bit loose, and the front one should also have a little bit of play in it. And as you actuate the cam, it pushes the two brake calipers together, and you get your braking. So now that we have the brakes put together, I'll suggest one more time you check for binding, and if it's not binding and the brakes are turning perfectly, then you can move on to the next step. If there is binding, you're going to have to backtrack and find out what the issue is. So let's get all of our parts out, and we're going to do step number 96. Step number 96, installing the clutch plate. There is a front and a back to the plate, and again, the part that has the bevels on it is the front, and the flat part is the back. First thing we're going to do is insert two very small rubber plugs. The first one is going to go into this space here where it's notched out a little bit. Very simply slide that in, and you'll see that there's a flat spot on the little rubber plug, so we'll, out of formalities, go ahead and place that in the proper direction. And then the second plug is going to go all the way at this bottom hole here, not the one below the pinion hole, but this one here. We'll plug this up. Now we're going to set the plate with this hole here around our spur gear holder, and this area here is going to be captured by the lay shaft bearing holder. Sometimes you have to work it on. It shouldn't be that hard to press in. My little rubber plug just popped out. But you do want to make sure that it's fully seated. And the way to do that is just look in through your screw holes, and you'll see that that they are firmly pressed against there. See, not so hard to find my little rubber plug that popped out. Going to go ahead and put that little puppy back in there. Just like so. Let's put our 4 screws in. They're all the same length. And get this tightened down. You're going to want to just pre-tighten them until they touch and then go back around and torque them down. The reason being is that if that plate is not fully set, by tightening one down and then tightening another down, it can bend the plate, and we don't want to do that. Okay, now it's all pulled in, so we can go ahead and tighten it down. One small last step in this one. Let's grab our little plastic plate cover. There is a front and a back to it. This is the front, and the back has 2 little recesses. Those 2 little recesses make space for the heads of the screws there. I'm going to go ahead and slide that down on. And there we go. We have our clutch plate assembly all put together. Let's grab the pieces and the parts that we're going to need for step number 97, and we'll get going on that. Step number 97. Let's take a look at our spur gear assembly. This is how it came in the bag, and it is 2 pieces. We're going to go ahead and remove the front plate from it, and we're going to insert our bumper cushions into the spur gear. And these are a little kidney shaped with a hole in there, so make sure that you get the we're going to take our plate, line up the 4 holes onto the shock bumpers, and slide it back together. It's pretty straightforward. Contained in your kit is a little purple O-ring. Excuse me, allergies. A little purple spacer, and we're going to slide that over our lay shaft. And always keep in mind that this needs to be in there. Sometimes when you're repairing your vehicle, you can forget about that little piece, and it causes all sorts of problems. The lay shaft has 2 flat spots on it, as you can see, on the top and the bottom, or on the sides, depending on which way it's turned. But there's 2 flat spots. And you'll notice that there are flat spots on the internal hole on the spur gear. This is the back of the spur gear. It's going to face towards the plate. This is the front of the spur gear, and that's going to face outward. So we're going to line up the splines, slip that in. At this point, we will grab a little C-clip. It's actually a large one, 7mm, and install it. Working backwards here for the camera. Let's see if we can get her going on here. There we go. Always remember to spin your clips just to make sure they are on properly. Check your play, and by play I'm talking about in and out. And if there's excessive play, then optionally you can use the Team FastEddy shim kit and put a shimmer tube behind there until it's nice and tight. We're now going to insert the pinion gear, and it comes, I believe, with a stock 17 tooth pinion. On the back is a notch, and if you look at your clutch bell, there's a notch on there. We're going to lay that in until it goes all the way in. You want to make sure that it is locked into that little crosshair. At this point, we're going to put the screw in, but we're not going to torque it down yet. We're going to do a little checking here. The clutch bell is notorious for having a huge amount of additional play in it, which we're going to want to shim out. So go ahead and put your screw in until it touches, don't torque it down, and pull in and out on your clutch, on your pinion, and you can see how much that clutch is moving. That's how much play there is in there. And we are going to want to get rid of that play. So to do that, we're going to use the Team FastEddy shim kit. And you can backtrack if you would like, or you can just put the shims on the front of the clutch bell. If you're using a lot of shims and your mesh, or not your mesh, but your alignment between your pinion and your spur gear becomes too great, then you're going to want to pull off the clutch and put a couple of the shims in back so that you stay in alignment with your pinion and your spur gear. Let me find some Team FastEddy shims here. Here we go. These are from our Pro Series shim kit. And we are going to put, by the looks of this one, 2 of the 0.5s, which are our thickest. We're going to go ahead and drop 2 of those over our pinion. There's one. Trying to see the thickness. Here we go. There's 2. We'll start with that and see how that goes. So again, we're going to put our pinion on and make sure it gets into the little notch. Tighten it down. And check our... Okay. Now there's just a tiny bit of play in there, but not a whole lot. It gives enough room for expansion. That's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. Again, that's optional. However, it is highly recommended. Now, we are going to take a new tool, which we didn't talk about, but it is included, and that is a second spur gear. And what we're going to do is we're going to use that as a locking tool while we tighten down our pinion. Before we do that, we're going to put some red Loctite on the pinion bolt. See, I almost forgot. Getting carried away with shimming. And we forgot our Loctite. Going to use the factory Loctite on that one. This is a very important part of your build. If there's any misalignments in here, if you're out of shim, if things just aren't working quite right, you can really mess up your Baja. So we're going to spend a little extra time in here and get you going. You're going to just set your spur gear down. I'm using an old one, but you have a spare one in your kit, I do believe. I'm going to put that in there just and use it as a locking tool. And that allows me to torque down on that bolt. We're going to suggest on this one that you give it a little extra love and torque it down nice and tight, but you don't want to break it. All right, that, my friends, is how you install your pinion and your spur.